Our journey to Nametsi village was not easy. The lack of access roads and bad terrain meant we had to leave our vehicles and walk. An evening downpour the previous day that lasted till morning left the road very slippery. We had to brave the mud in our quest to see what Nametsi looks like 6 years after landslides swept entire villages in Bududa, killed hundreds, injured and displaced many. The rains began to pour again midway into our journey, and the steep slopes left us short of breath as we went up and down through the several hills. After a 3-kilometer walk, we have now arrived in Nametsi, where over 300 people perished in landslides in 2010. But with the cultivation that is taking place here, nobody can realize that people died in this place. After the rains, people went about their daily business like any other day to put food on their table for their families. Sam Wauyo is one of the many survivors of that deadly 2010 landslide who have returned from Kiryandongo district, where he had relocated back to Nametsi.
I was come from Kiryandongo because of very bad condition and very bad climate, and because of too much hunger.
Wauyo, a father of 8, says he could not sustain his family on the monthly government handout.
I have come here to plant my maize and cabbages, tomatoes, because of we eat a good variety. There we eat only one meal or one type of food.
Wauyo says when he returned from Kiryandongo 2 years ago, he was in such a sorry state that many thought he was ill.
Disease, no drug, no water. It's a very dry area.
His children's education also suffered. They are now trying to pick up the pieces. He is not the only survivor who left the relative safety of Kiryandongo to risk it all on these fertile mountain slopes.
My father went there and died from there due to particular medical conditions. And you have seen how they have cultivated. Everybody knows where his piece of land stops. And therefore, they believe that it is better to be here than being in Kiryandongo. So the situation remains as it is. And we are all still worried that at one moment the landslide may as well occur.
It is better we find maybe funds from the government. We give the community, we give these people themselves, and we shall also make a follow-up to find land within the area around where we can see the conditions are good for them to settle.
There are many others like Wauyo, but they shied away from our cameras out of fear of being bussed back to the resettlement camp. Following the landslides, 2 primary schools, Normalcy and Nametsi, were closed. According to local leaders here, the children of Nametsi can no longer access quality education because they have to travel long distances to school located miles away.
When you see them here, most of them are not attending school. The reason being the schools are very far, and we ask, the request to government is let Tunwazi Primary School be reopened because it has all the facilities. The books are there. The teachers, we hear the teachers are still on the payroll.
The nearest health center, Nametsi, was buried in the landslides, killing a nurse who was on duty station. The people who remained here and those who returned from Kiryandongo have to seek medical care elsewhere.
So they are suffering. They don't have anywhere to go for health services. More especially the mothers who are to deliver. That is the worst. And we are losing many of them here. We are losing more lives here, more especially of regional mothers.
So most of our mothers deliver from the plantations. And they don't have health workers to look after them because the health facilities are very far.
What was a death trap of mud 6 years ago is now covered with lush vegetation and plants.
Of course, normally they start by planting. And once they see the soil is settling down, they will now begin constructing. I am sure in another period of 1 year, you will get buildings here.
children have turned parts of it into a pitch for playing football. In our final part of our series on Bududa landslide survivors, we take you to Kiryandongo to find out why others have chosen to start a new life in the settlement camp. According to people here, the stone where I am standing is one of the many that were rolled from uphill there and killed a number of people here. Though people are still returning from Kiryandongo, there are still many stones that can roll at any time. Only time will tell if government will heed these people's request to relocate them in the places of Bududa, Mbale, and Manafa. Agness Nandutu, NTV, Nametsi in Bududa district.